So good morning and welcome everyone again. Feel like a little bit chilly inside. Okay, so shall we start as usual with watching our breath mindfully for a few moments. And we can try to reflect, contemplate, and think. Through coming us here together and engage in discussions and reflections. May it be able to help us to reduce our selfish and self-centeredness. May it help to cultivate the attitude of cherishing others, loving kindness, compassion, in both the mind. And may it become cause and conditions to achieve our highest potential, the fully awakened state. So we can be most help, benefit to all sentient beings limitlessly in most skillful way. Okay. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soge sonam ma changchu pado dane kya Sagi chushegi be sonam ge dola penche sangye doba Sangye chodang soge sonam ma changchu pado dane Sagi chushegi be sonam dola penche sangye doba. So we have been discussing how to, by following some of the verses from the Lama Chopa or Guru Puja, we have been discussing on the stage of path, and we are within that we're in a section where the stages of path are higher scope, the practice of a higher scope or capacity. And on that, there are certain meditation practice, how to cultivate the awakening mind or the bodhicitta mind. And And last week we talked about specific particular meditation practice or method known as equalizing exchanging self with others. And within that meditation, there are 5 points of meditations. And we kind of discuss a little bit about the first 2. The first one is equalizing self with others, where we talk about how we meditate, contemplate, and reflect how all sentient beings are equal, in a sense that we all want to be happy and do not wish suffering even for a moment. On that fundamental level, how we all are same and equal. And then secondly, we talk about meditation on, the fault or defect or shortcoming of selfish attitude or self-centeredness. And again, as Shantideva said, all the problems and all the suffering in the world or individually, are the result of selfish attitude and self-centeredness. All the sufferings and problems come through the selfish attitude and self-centeredness. And not only Shantideva said, if we observe in the world where we are, the situation of the world, why there is so much problem, why there is so much suffering, why there is so much pain, where does all this come from? If you go deeper, then it all comes through selfish attitude, self-centeredness. Out of selfish attitude, self-centeredness, we exploit the earth, the planet, out of selfish attitude and self-centeredness, people try to take advantage of others, trying to exploit others. Where does that exploitation come from? Why they take advantage of someone else? Because of to fulfill their own selfish needs, to fulfill their own their self-centeredness. It all comes through that. Why are there so much, fightings? Again, it comes through selfish attitude, self-centeredness. Why are there so much inequalities? Because of selfish attitude, self-centeredness. All the problem that we see, inequality, injustice, the problem with the environment, climate, all, if you go deeper back, is due to human beings' selfish attitude, self-centeredness. It's very clear. And even in our life, even in our individual, not only in a whole as a world, but even in our individual life, even in our family, why we have a problem? Why do we have problems in our families? Why do I have a problems? If I have a problem with someone, something, why am I have a problem? If you go deeply, it is my selfish attitude, self-centeredness. Because my self-centeredness, my selfish attitude, self-centered attitude is not happy. Basically, it's not happy because I'm not getting what I want. That is the problem. I want to get everything I want. That is how our selfish attitude feel. And as we discussed last week, the selfish attitude want to be the center of the world and the boss of the world. So therefore, it wants, everything wants, I want everyone to listen to me. I want everyone to respect me. I want everyone to agree with me. I want everyone to love me, care me. That is our selfish attitude. When that doesn't happen, then we have a problem. When that doesn't happen, then we have a problem. Then we have started a problem with others because that is not being fulfilled, because your selfish attitudes is not being fulfilled. And that is where the problem comes. That is where the problem arises. Mm. And so that is where problem arises, and that is where the suffering arises, pain arises, and that is how we suffer. So we just have to observe our own when we have a problem. Why am I having a problem? Why am I having a problem? Why am I so unhappy? Take it out. Or we can say, he or she doesn't do that, or he or she have that kind of attitude, or because he or she didn't do this or did that, all of that. But it's more than that, because not because of what he or she did or what he or she didn't do, but because basically I'm not happy with that. Basically, I'm not happy with what he or she did or what he or she didn't do. Why am I not happy? Because I want my selfish attitude, want things to be done in a certain way or not to done in a certain way. And because that is not being fulfilled, that is not happening. And therefore, the problem arises, and therefore I'm unhappy. It is important for us to check time to time, because a lot of time we don't go deep enough. We don't go deep enough. If you don't go deep enough, then of course the reason is he or she didn't do that, or he or she did that. But if you are willing to go, not only that, why am I so unhappy, and why do I have a problem? Why do I have a problem? Because of what he or she did, or because of what he or she didn't do. Basically, if you go deeper, then it is, because I want things to be done this way, or I want things not to be done this way. And because it goes against that, it doesn't fulfill that. Because our selfish attitude, self-centeredness, want everything to follow the way we want or the way we do not want. Once we understand that, I think maybe it will make us more humble. So far in our life, we have been blaming others all the time for our problems, our individual problems, the problem in our families, problem in our organizations, the problem in the world. We have been always blaming others. But actually, if we really go down deeper, actually the problem starts from our side. The reason why it becomes a problem. the reason why it becomes painful, it actually start from outside, you know. So anyway, so that is the second point, the point of the more we understand that, the less we blame others, the less we blame others, the less upset and less angry we're with others. The less angry and upset with others, the more calm your mind is, more peaceful your mind is, more spacious your mind is. And that allows you to feel love and compassion for others. That give you the space and allow you to feel love and compassion for others. Otherwise, you know, it's very difficult to feel love and compassion as long as you have the feeling of anger, hatred, upset, being upset. And it will be very difficult not to be angry if you blame if you blame the problem for them. If we blame the problem for others, it will be very difficult not to be angry with them. But once we stop blaming others, you know, then it will be more easy not to be angry with others, not to feel angry to others, you know. And then we stop blaming others, we understand when actually the main cause of my unhappiness and the problem that I'm having is actually coming from my own side, my own unselfish attitude, my own self-centered attitude, you know. And also, you know, once we see that, then we will put more effort to deal with that, trying to reduce it, trying to minimize that selfish attitude, self-centeredness as much as possible, you know. And less selfish attitudes, less self-centeredness, less problem we have with others, less unhappiness, happy we become, you know. And more easier it becomes to cultivate loving kindness, compassion, both in the mind. So that is the second point. And the third point is meditating on the benefit of cherishing thought for others. By meditating and by understanding that how cherishing others is the root of our happiness. And so once through that kind of meditation, reflection, meditation, contemplation, once we are confident that it is, then we will pay more attention to develop the cherished thought for others. So in relation to that, in terms of the verse itself, you can see verse number 92, where it says, LC 92, contemplating on advantage of cherishing others. The mind that cherishes mothers and places them in bliss is a gateway leading to infinite qualities. You know, so the mind that cherishes other sentient beings and, you know, other mother sentient beings, and then, you know, either directly, indirectly, or wishing them to place them in a happiness, state of happiness, you know, wanting to see them in happiness and cause of happiness is the gateway leading to the infinite qualities, you know, is the gateway to temporary happiness, ultimate happiness, you know, happiness of this life, happiness of future, happiness of enlightenment, you know. So all the happiness come through that, the cherishing thought for others, you know. As again, Shantideva said, you know, all the happiness in the world comes through the attitude of cherishing others. So same here. Seeing this, through meditation, reflections, contemplations, seeing this or understanding and being convinced with that, I seek your blessings to cherish those transmigrated beings, all sentient beings, more than my life, even should they rise up as my enemy, So it is a very powerful bodhisattva's attitude and to train, to be able to practice that way, Even if, others rise as an enemy, and even they try to hurt and harm us, by cherishing them, if we do not have any kind of ill will feeling, anger and hateful feeling and so forth, then, we less suffer. We don't have to suffer more than what we're already suffering, But when we have anger and hateful feelings, not only we receive whatever experience of suffering, physical suffering we might receive, but on top of that, then we create more pain and more suffering by having that kind of mind. And so therefore, the moment we are able to cherish others, then, your anger, your hateful feeling subside. And thereby, you don't have to suffer so much. That kind of so much emotional, mental anguish and pain and suffering. We don't have to go through that. And also we are able to, so by not having that mental anguish and the pain and suffering, then we are able to keep our mind calm, peaceful, stable, more clarity. When your mind is in that peaceful, calm state, then your mind is more stable. Your mind is more, your mind has more clarity, And then again, as I mentioned, then it allows you to feel love, compassion, and cultivate the Bodhicitta mind. So, so once we are able to, at the moment, because we cherish ourselves excessively, we cherish. Cherishing yourself is a not problem, but when you cherish excessively, that become the problems, we cherish ourselves excessively in a way that where we overlook others' suffering and pain, and at the expense of others' problems, so that become problem. But instead, then we try to, have, instead of having that kind of excessive cherishing self, we try to develop the attitude and thought of cherishing others more and more. Through that cherishing others more and more, then we try to hold them more dear, more precious, more kind. And once we are able to develop that sense of more, everyone being as more, dear, precious, kind, close, being close to us, then, our mind become much more, just by having that, it put our mind at much more ease. By knowing everyone is dear to you, knowing everyone's close to you, knowing everyone's kind to you, precious to you, just by being in that with that state, it put your mind as much more ease, less fear, less worry, less anxiety. Just by that, put your mind in such an ease, calm state, peaceful state. Then we have less fear about others, you know. Then you have less fear about others. And by having less fear, you know, you don't have to go through unnecessary pain and suffering, worry and fear, and anxiety and so forth, you know. And once we are able to feel everyone as a kind, precious, dear, you know, close, then, you know, we wouldn't have much difficulty to cultivate love, compassion, and bodhicitta mind towards them, you know. And again, if we look in the world, you know, the only solutions to the problems of the world is through this attitude of cherishing for others. When all the beings in this world started to cherish others, there's no reason to fight with each other. There's no reason to feel bad about each other when we started to cherish each other. And when there's no, you know, when you don't fight, then of course, then there is peace. There is peace, there is harmony. Peace and harmony comes by changing that attitude. When the being in this world, the people who live in this world started to change their attitude from being excessively, you know, being selfish attitude or self-centeredness to cherishing others, you know, regarding others highly, holding others precious, dear, you know, then definitely, you know, that is where the harmony and peace come, you know. And also inequalities, injustice will end when we have that kind of attitude. If we don't change that attitude, it's very hard to really have lasting true peace, to have really lasting, you know, equality, to have a really lasting sense of justice. No matter how much law we make, they always find a way to break those laws, you know. It can only do little, but even with all the law that we have, international law, the law of the countries, all this law, still we are unable to stop all of these problems. The very problem that existed before those laws were there, and the problem still exists even after we have made all this law. Why? Because the human being's mind has not changed. Really lasting effect to solve all these problems that we see, really the change has to come from the people by changing their attitude, by changing their attitude. Otherwise, it can have some effect, but it will not have a lasting effect. If people doesn't change their attitude, just having other different laws and all that, it cannot stop everything. But once we change the attitude of the people, then slowly, even the law are not required, So to solve the problem is that, and same with ourselves, same with the problem, not in the world, in the country, in the state, in the families, neighborhood families, and in our individual problems, Once we started to cherish others more than ourselves, we wouldn't have so much problem, Then it becomes not about what I need and what I want, but it becomes what they need and what they want. So even I don't get what I want, even I don't get what I need, I will not be so unhappy. And it wouldn't be a problem. So is no more problem to you, is you are not unhappy about it, and the other is happy. So the other is happy, and you are not unhappy, you are happy, so there's no problem. Isn't it? Then there's no problem. Then there's no conflict. Then there's no fighting, argument. So, as Lama Sopa Rinpoche, as it is said here, as Lama Sopa Rinpoche, the moment you cherish others, real happiness starts. True happiness comes, Real positive changes in your lives started to happen, about the whole perceptions, about the world itself changes. When you have that change of that perspective, that attitude, Before, it is all about the world being centered around you. Now, you are being around the center of someone else or others. So your perceptions about the world changes, and your attitude about the world changes. Your behavior and your response towards the other changes, and your experience changes, and experience of other changes to betterness. So, for example, I think I think it can be helpful to give, let's say example of, His Holiness Dalai Lama, the reasons why he personally, does not experience so much pain, suffering, despite all the challenges that he faced, that he went through. Some of the challenges, difficulties that he went through is nothing that we went through in our life. Nothing like that. But despite that, still one of the most joyful, cheerful, happy that we know in the world, always smiling, always very positive, optimistic, always very inspiring, It is not that he didn't face any difficulties, challenges in his life. He did much more than what we can even imagine. But to be able to keep that, why? Because of his state of mind. Because of his state of mind. Because of his cherishing thought for others. Because of his love and compassion for others. That is why, therefore, he's able to not only keep himself joyful, peaceful, calm, happy, but he inspires so many people around the world to be more cheerful, more positive, more optimistic, more happy. He's able to help so many beings in the world through his incredible activities and projects. He's able to reach so many people's mind and heart and bring a lot of positive changes and continue to bring so much positive changes. How is he able to bring those positive changes? How is he able to make others? Because of his cherishing thought for others, love, compassion. And when you have that kind of, not only you are able to keep yourself happy, peaceful, calm, but at the same time, you don't hurt and harm others, even when others create a lot of problem to you. You don't hurt and harm them. Not only you don't hurt and harm them, actually you try to help and benefit them, and to be able to help and benefit them. And how is that possible? Because of the attitude, the cherishing thought for attitude, the attitude of cherishing others. The goal of your life become the others, the happiness of others, well-being of others. The goal of your practice, the goal of your life become dedication for others, cherishing for others, working for well-being of others because you cherish them, because you hold them very precious, dear. And when you cherish them, and when you dedicate, and when you work for the benefit of others, you're automatically, it brings a lot of peace in your mind. By product, automatically, it helps you for your own well-beings. And as Lama Tsongkhapa said, in his lamrim, bodhicitta is such, even though when you have bodhicitta and when you walk out of that bodhicitta, you are solely 100% working for the benefit of others. By product, it brings your own benefit. You work for well-being of others, and your own well-being is come out of that. Because when you are able to, be a great benefit to others, it gives you such, you don't do that because you want to feel good about it, but because you want to do, because you cherish them, because you see them, and so you really want to do for them, but at the end, it gives immense satisfactions, joy, happiness. You don't do for that, but it comes automatically. And your life becomes meaningful. you know. And you don't do that for people to like you, but automatically people like you, you know. You are not doing because you want people to like you, but you do because you want to help them. But what happens? Automatically, people started to liking you. People started to love you. So, of course, your own well-being, because everyone like to be loved. Everyone will be liked. You didn't do for much, but it comes automatically. You know? And your life become meaningful. You feel your life, meaning in your life. Again, you don't do it because you want to feel meaning in your life, because you do because you want to help. But at the end, when you look and reflect on your life, you feel, oh, my life has been meaningful. Give you such a joy, you know. Especially, you know, as our life comes to the end, when we reflect on our life, you know, how has my life been? What I have given back to the world, back to the society? What have I done to others? You know, if we think and if we, as we reflect, if we feel, you know, oh, I've been able to contribute in certain level, I've been able to help in some level, here and there, and give back to the community, give back to the society, give back to the world, we will feel much more joyfulness, much more happy, sense of feeling meaning in our life. But at the end, when we think, you know, I've done nothing but just, you know, then we might start to really feel kind of regret, you know, feeling empty, meaningless. I have wasted my life, have not become meaningful. So then, you know, it doesn't give you any kind of peace, you know. So, and of course, without a cherishing thought for others, there is no loving kindness. You cannot develop loving kindness. You cannot develop bodhicitta or loving kindness and compassion. And without the loving kindness and compassion, you cannot develop bodhicitta. Without the bodhicitta, there's no enlightenment. So enlightenment comes through the bodhicitta mind. The bodhicitta comes through the compassion and loving kindness. Loving kindness and bodhicitta, loving kindness and compassion comes through the mind that cherish others. The mind that cherish others. So therefore, the mind cherish others is the root of all the happiness, the root of our happiness, root of others' happiness. Root of immediate happiness, root of, you know, temporary happiness, and the root of long-term happiness is the root of all the virtues, you know, such as loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind, as well as the cherishing mind is the very root of the practice of generosity. When you cherish others, then you are able to practice the generosity to that person's. Also is the root of the moral discipline. When you cherish someone, you don't want to hurt them, you don't want to harm them. So then you refrain and restrain from harming them because you cherish them. When you cherish them, even someone try to harm you, you will not retaliate with harmful action back. So you practice the patience. You practice the patience. You are able to practice the patience. Even when someone tries to hurt you, you don't respond with the same way, trying to harm and hurt them. Through the practice of patience. And you do that because you cherish them. You don't want to hurt them. Doesn't that happen in our life? In our life, there are certain individuals that we cherish very much. Someone we hold very dear to us, and we cherish very much. And even sometimes they act in a certain way that we don't kind of, agree, or we don't like it. Still, we will not do anything that can hurt them, isn't it? We try to not to engage something that can hurt them, that can harm them. Why? Because we cherish them. Because we cherish them. So all the virtues, so many of those practice and virtues can be practiced and developed from the root, from the foundations of cherishing others. So therefore, the mind or the attitude that cherish others is so, is so root of so many practice, virtuous practice, and the root of happiness, our and others' happiness. So therefore, by that understanding, by reflecting, contemplating, meditating on that, and with understanding, being convinced through meditation, then we're being totally convinced, this cherishing attitude or cherishing thought or the mind is so precious. It's so precious for everyone, precious for ourselves, precious for others. It's the root of all the happiness, root of all the virtues. And by that understanding, then we put all the effort, all the energy to actualize that cherishing thought for others, to increase, to improve, to maintain, increase, and improve as much as possible. So those who have not actualized, trying to actualize it. Those who have already actualized, to maintain it so that it doesn't deteriorate. And those who are able to maintain it so that continue to practice so it become more stronger, more bigger, and develop more further and further. And so and it is the cherishing thought for others, such as the, okay, maybe. It is the cherishing attitude or cherishing thought, such as loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind, that give us a lot of energy, and courage and confidence, And we can see that with everyone's, Another example, some which, like I've observed, His Holiness the Lama Sopa Rinpoche, and some of my other teachers, Gandhi Rinpoche, even with their age, they have so much energy. Then, like myself, age-wise, I'm much more younger, but they seem to have much more energy, much more to do things for others, to give time for others, His Holiness Dalai Lama, until recently, until pandemic, he was traveling, he was meeting every day, so many people. For us, after 1 week, you will be exhausted. Sometimes, when your friends visit you, and then even for a week or two, after that, after some time, you feel a little bit exhausted, isn't it? And what, you are visited by one friend or 1, 2, 3, but like His Holiness Dalai Lamas, he meet, if not hundreds, many every day, all of them talking about their pain, their suffering, their problems, listening all the time, their pain, their problem, suffering, which is not easy. Despite that, how does he manage? How does he manage his energy? Where does his energy come from? That we don't have. Where did his energy come from? Did he drink some boost, what do you call it, a drink? Maybe His Holiness have some kind, maybe some secret, maybe he's drinking something. Power generating boost drinking. I'm just joking. But his boost or his energy come from because of loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind, the cherishing thought for others. Because of his, love for others, cherish for the others. That is where the energy comes from. And that is exactly the same you feel with His Holiness, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, He's non-stop 24 hours doing something for someone. Either he's teaching, giving advice, writing advice, doing practice for someone who is sick, someone who is having problems, this and that all the time, I cannot keep up with him even for a week, Even for a week, there are times when I have been around him even for a week. After 1 week, you started to collapse. Not having enough sleep, not having enough rest, because it's continually, and but he has been doing for his life. As far as I know, 40, 50 years, he's like that all the time. And sometimes you wonder, where does his energy come from? And I have no doubt that comes from the love, compassion, bodhicitta mind, the cherishing thought for others. That is what gives them that energy. So, my compassion is not strong enough. My love and kindness is not strong enough. My cherishing thought for others is not strong enough. So I don't get that same energy. So I need to rest. I need to rest. I don't have that same energy, But if I can develop more higher level of cherishing thought for others, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, then definitely I will get more energy to do that, but it's clear. And for many of you, as a parent, many of you who have been parents, probably, you have a little bit of experience of that. When you are upbringing your child, where you have to, constantly get in the middle of night so many times. And you have your full-time job, and again, taking the children here and there and doing all this, you manage it. You manage for how many years? You manage it. And you have the energy to do that. But if someone asks you to do now with someone else, I don't think you will have energy to do that. And that energy comes because of your love and compassion and care for your child. You have more energy because of that kind of your incredible love, compassion, and care, and cherishing that child, your child. You know, so that is where those are something many of you have experienced to a certain degree in certain time your life. You know, then as the child grow up, you know, and they become more independent, and then they have their own views, their own ideas, their own mind, you know, that conflict with your minds, your views, your ideas, then, you know, your love and compassion slowly become a little bit less than you used to be, you know, and then, that could change, but when they are young and when that you really, you have very strong feeling for them, love, compassion, caring, that, and because of that, you have so much energy to take care of them, you know, so much energy to take care of them. If you don't have the love and compassion, you would not have that kind of energy to do that, you know. You will not have the energy to do that. So that come from, you know, the cherishing thought for cherishing love and compassion for others. So that is so that is the third point in terms of meditations, you know. And the fourth point is, you know, exchanging the self with others, actually exchange the self with others. And that is, of course, exchanging self with others means changing the attitude. Because in the second and third, we meditated and saw that selfish attitude is the root of all the sufferings and the problem. And the cherishing others is the root of happiness and all the happiness and all the goodness. So because you understood that, now you want to exchange that attitude from selfish attitude to the attitude that cherish others. So that is what exchanging self with others means, changing the attitude from becoming too selfish to cherishing others more. Before, you know, we don't cherish others, we only cherish ourselves. But now we try to train our mind to change that attitude from being, you know, too overly cherishing ourselves to cherish others, and to cherish others even more than oneself, you know. And so that is, so in relation to that, in terms of the verse, you know, here, LC 93, and 94, I think both of them fit in that. In brief, infidel beings labor only for their own ends, while the able ones work solely for the welfare of others, with the mind understanding the distinction between the falling of one and advantage of others. So the falling of selfish attitude, and out of that selfish attitude, then working only for yourself. The advantage of others is, you know, the benefit of cherishing others and working for others. I see your blessing enable me to equalize and exchange self with others. As it is said here, infidel here means child, like a childish, you know, who works only for out of selfish attitude, who only work for their self. And the able one here referred to like the bodhisattvas, you know, out of cherishing thought for others, who work for the benefit of others. So, and the result is clear. So as Shantideva said, you know, he said, there's not much to talk about it. We don't need to talk much about it. He said, look at where we are and look at where all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are. Okay? Look at where our situation is now. Okay? Look at where our situation is now. Look at where our state is now, and compare that with the situation or stages of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. There's huge difference, isn't it? These two are two result of these two different states are result of two different minds, two different attitudes. One is the result of cherishing thought for others, and one is the result of cherishing thought for oneself, or self-cherishing, or selfish attitude. So we are still in samsara, we are still imperfect, we are still full of suffering, full of problems. Why? Because we follow the selfish attitude from all the time. Because we have been following the selfish attitude. As a result, this is what the result it leads to us. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they didn't follow the selfish attitude. Instead, they give up selfish attitude. They follow cherishing thought for others. They cultivated cherishing thought for others, loving kindness, compassion, and they follow that. As a result, they are free from suffering. They are free from the samsara. And they don't have the problem like we have. They don't have the suffering like we have. And that is the result of by following the cherishing thought for others. It's clear, isn't it? When we say Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, it sounds a little bit too far away, isn't it? It seems like a little bit kind of, but we just take one example, ourselves and His Holiness Dalai Lama. Is his mind more calm, peaceful, or is our mind more peace and calm? Is he more happy, or are we more happy? Do we have more problem, or does he have more problems internally? It's clear, It's clear. Why is that difference? Why is the difference? How come he is more happy? How come his mind is so peaceful and ours not? Because we are still very much under the influence of selfish attitude, strong selfish attitude. Whereas, he's not under the influence of selfish attitude, or rather, he's full of cherishing thought for others, loving kindness, compassion. And that is the thing. That is the key. That is the key. That is the key. Why are we not being able to benefit so much to others? And why is he able to benefit so much to others? What's the difference? Because he has that strong cherishing thought for others. We don't have that strong cherishing thought for others. Instead, we have a strong cherishing thought for ourselves. That is why, So again, it becomes clear. It is clear where the selfish attitude leads and where the cherishing thought for others lead. If the selfish attitude lead to really, our well-being or our happiness, we should be happy, very happy by now. We have been following that from the beginning of lifetime. Okay? From the beginner's lifetime, we have been following this selfish attitude. It hasn't led to happiness till now, and to believe that it will lead to happiness in the future is just kidding and just deceiving ourselves. It hasn't led up to now. Do you think it will still lead if you give more time? It got more than enough time to try that and see where it leads to, you know. And even if we don't talk many lifetime, even just lifetime, in this lifetime, from the birth until now, we have been following that selfish attitude. That selfish attitude, you know. Over 50 years in my cases, and still it hasn't led me to be more happy. So to believe that it will lead me to more happy in the future will be deceiving yourself, you know. And, you know, cherishing thought for others, even if it's just a moment, you know, even if it's just a moment, you know, that can give you a lot of joy and happiness, you know. When you have thought, you know, of some sense of caring, loving, concern for someone because you see their pain, their sufferings, and out of that concern, care, which is cherishing thought for others, you know, you are able to do some small help, whatever that help might be, you know, it might be just small help, you know, because you see their pain, their sufferings, and you want to do something, you want to help, and you do that, you know, and if you are able to do that, you know, then, you know, that the joy, the happiness from that to be able to do that will remain with you for a long time and give you such a satisfaction and joy. Even though, again, as I mentioned very beginning, you don't do for that, but it just comes, you know, it just comes. Of course, if you are doing for that, probably it might not come, you know. If you help someone because you want to feel good about it, probably, or give you a satisfaction, probably maybe that might not really come. But when you do truly without any kind of that kind of expectation, but because you really want to help on the basis of that, then definitely, you know. So that is, so with that understanding, then, you know, we request the Guru and the Buddha, all the holy beings to inspire us, to bless us so that we can exchange that attitude, meaning, you know, from selfish attitude to cherishing others attitude, so that we can exchange that attitude, you know. So that, and the verse number 94, you know, so I think it is kind of summarizing, you know, summarizing. Cherishing myself is the doorway to all the laws, you know. So cherishing, overly cherishing, or in other words, selfish attitude or self-centeredness is the doorway to all the loss, all the problem, all the suffering, all the pain of oneself and others. While cherishing, you know, my mother sentient beings is the foundation of all good qualities. On the other hand, cherishing other sentient beings, other mother sentient beings, is the very root or the foundations of all the happiness and all the positive qualities, all the virtues. That being the hence, I seek your blessing to make my heart practice the yoga of exchanging self with others. And therefore, you know, exchanging that attitude, trying to reduce that selfish attitude as much as possible, trying to cultivate and increase and improve the cherishing thought for others, we should try to make that as the heart practice, as that the main practice. So that is where it's saying, you know, bless me to be able to do that, to be able to take that practice as the main practice, as the heart practice, the main practice, you know, the primary practice, in all other practice, supporting towards that, you know. So because this practice is the very, you know, heart of the bodhicitta practice. It's the very heart of the bodhicitta practice. And bodhicitta practice is the very heart of the Mahayana practice. It's the very heart of the bodhisattva's practice. And again, Shantideva said, you know, anyone who want to accomplish well-being of oneself and others, one should engage into the secret practice of exchanging self with others. And there is no others practice the exchanging self with others that can fulfill the well-being of oneself and others. And so therefore, again, the exchanging self with others should be the main primary practice on the bodhisattva path, on the Mahayana path. And then the fifth one is the practice of Tonglen. So that is the fifth point, exchange, meditation on taking and giving, you know. Of course, Tonglen is the Tibetan term, you know. Tong means giving and Len means taking and giving, that practice. And again, that practice is to, the Tonglen practice is to develop, cultivate and develop strong courages and confidence, and loving kindness and compassion. When we try to engage in the bodhisattva path, and when we engage into the path to be benefit and help to all sentient beings, we need a lot of courage. We need a lot of confidence. You know, if we don't have enough confidence, if we don't have enough courages, at the very beginning, you know, you enter in the path because you want to be help, benefit to others, but then we face some hardships, some difficulties, then we fall down. We give up. We become we become discouraged, and then we give up. The reason is because we don't have strong, unshakable, unmovable courage and confidence. And so to build strong courage and confidence, to be on this path, because we are being on this path, on the Bodhisattva or Mahayana path, is you are dedicating yourself for the benefit of not just one sentient beings, but not just one human beings, all human beings, all humankind. Not only just human beings, all other sentient beings, all other sentient beings. And when we're on the path, we're not talking about just one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, countless lifetime, dedicating on that path to work for the benefit of others. You need a lot of courage, confidence, isn't it? You know, if someone say I have to take care of some people, you know, for 1 week, I might think I can manage. But if they say 1 month, I might say, oh, that is too long. I cannot. 1 year, no. You know, so depending on your courage, you need a very strong courage to be able to isn't that case, when our dear ones, near one, even sometimes when we have families who need help all the time, we are able to give when it's short time, but when it is becoming a long time, it becomes difficult. So, but to be able to continue to give that, so yeah, so therefore, you need a strong courage, and I think the practice of Tonglen is a tool or practice or meditations to build up such a strong courage, confidence, and to build up loving kindness and compassion. So I think maybe I don't know, today maybe we might not have enough time, but maybe we can talk about maybe next week about these verses a little bit. And then maybe today I can take some questions. I think for last few weeks, I think there hasn't been much questions. So there is some questions, okay. There are a couple of questions. Shandeva said, exchanging self with others, the main practice of the bodhisattvas. Well, he didn't say in a word like that, but as I mentioned, he said that if you want to achieve the well-being oneself and others, then you have to practice the exchanging self with others. But again, as in Lama here, we just said, in this Lama Choba, where it says, hence I say you're blessed to make my heart practice. So that is what it is meaning, heart practice, or or the main practice for the both on the both path, or Mahayana path. Okay. Yeah, I think not only you, I think we all need energy like His Holiness and Lama Sopa Rinpoche, and it is same with one of my teacher, Gandhi Rinpoche, he's already 7. He continued to teach, he continued to give advice all the times, and continue to practice all the time. And again, sometimes you are amazed by their energy. You are amazed by your energy, where the energy come from. And I guess so. If we want the energy, I guess we have to practice more loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta mind. And as we have more stronger loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta mind, the more energy we feel to be help, benefit to others. So I think that is the boost that we need. Unfortunately, there is no drink or pill at this point. We have to practice. We have to, as much as we want to have the easy way around, just take a pill or just drink something, so we don't have to meditate and practice. At this point, that's not the case. So, so there is one. Geshe-la, can you please talk a bit about how being firm with others is sometimes a kindness? Yeah, being a firm can be out of kindness and compassion, or can be stubbornness and my way, So it could be either way, being a firm itself, being grounded in your view or your ideas or whatever, that you are unwilling to change it, firm. So I think we have to be honest with ourselves and actually look deep inside why I'm being so firm about this issue and that. Is it because I think I'm right and others are not right? That could be more of self-importance and maybe sense of arrogance or pride, thinking that I know better than others, I know better than you, and my view is better. So therefore, even you said this and that, even you give this reasoning that, I wouldn't change, I will not move, I will not change, because what I think, I know better than you. So, that is not out of compassion. That is out of more kind of stubborn, arrogant, or pride. And then sometimes, definitely, one can be firm out of compassion because, you don't want that person to get hurt, And if you know that if they do that, if they engage in certain behavior, certain actions, they are going to get hurt themselves. And so because you don't want to hurt them and because you want to accept them, because you want to protect them, so you have to be firm on that. Even they make a big noise about it, And so that one comes through the compassion. It's nothing to do with you because you don't want that person to get hurt and harm. And by allowing that actions or that kind of behavior or that, if you are not firm and if you are not strong, and if they do that, then they are going to get in trouble. They are going to get in problem and trouble, and they're going to get hurt. And so you don't want to do that in that case. So I think it depends, being a firm can come from either compassionate state of mind as well as sense of arrogance and pride and self-importance. Yeah. So I think, so we have to look ourselves more deeply. Yes, any other questions? Yes.
Geshe-la, Heather has one. Go ahead, Heather.
Hi, Geshe-la.
Hi.
This is my question. It's an example of the problem that I face trying to skillfully engage with abandoning a selfish attitude. I just purchased a new home, and there are lots of little problems with it. And the man that built this house is busy finishing the other new homes in the area. So I've tried to practice. He's very busy. This is not a big deal. This is just what I want. It's not important. It's helpful to him if I don't make a big deal out of it. And that works for me because I don't struggle, and it gives me perspective, and I feel like I'm helping him. But my heat went out last night. And so this morning I'm freezing, and my mind goes to, well, I have lots of clothes. I can wear lots of layers, and then I won't bother him. And so what I struggle with is I do have the aspiration to abandon a selfish attitude, but I tend to take it to an extreme where I'm just ridiculous. And so I don't know how to have the right balance between abandoning a selfish attitude and also making sure that I'm taking care of myself. And I would like advice about that, please.
I think one important thing is, I think we have to take step by step in our practice. As much as we want to become enlightened immediately, want to be a bodhisattva immediately. But since we are still at the very beginning stages, also we can't pretend we are there. Okay. When you are not there and when we pretend ourselves being there, that becomes a problem. I'm not bodhisattva, but I try to behave like a bodhisattva. But really, I'm not a bodhisattva. I don't have really what you call the bodhicitta mind, unshakable bodhicitta mind. So I can try to behave like bodhisattvas, but I'm not bodhisattvas, you know. And then later, I might be very, because I don't know bodhicitta, then I can become a very resentful as well for others and for yourself. Or sometimes maybe we can even start to blame the Dharma itself, you know, because this Dharma says about you have to be compassionate, you have to be kind, you have to give off, and I did that, and now look where I am. There is one story about Milarepa, and one of the practitioners, he read Milarepa's autobiography, and he was so inspired by the Milarepa's story and biography. So he wanted to follow that path. So he gave up everything, and he wanted to be just a wanderer like the Milarepa with nothing, you know. And he did that for a while, but after some time, you know, he didn't make much progress in his spiritual path, and maybe, you know, his determination is not strong as Milarepa. Also, maybe he might not have same imprint from past, whatever, you know. So, and then his renunciation at the very beginning, he a little bit started to decrease. And now he lost his renunciations, and now he found he had nothing. Everything he had given. And then he said, you know, not only Milarepa was a beggar, he made me a beggar. So, you know, from being inspired, he ended up becoming so negative like that. Now he blamed the Milarepa for his situations. And so we don't want to end up in that kind of situations. And sometimes we can end up like that. And so it is always much more safe, always much more safe to start where we are and trying to improve a little bit more. And so, you know, trying to, if we're totally self-consumed and totally self-centered now, trying to be a little bit less of that, and trying to have a little bit of more concern for others, having a little bit of more compassion for others, but we don't have to give everything at the moment, you know, and still we continue to work with that. And then slowly, a little bit stronger, bigger and better. So that is more stable way. You build up slowly. It takes time, but you have good foundation and stable foundations. And then you don't fall down because you are building each layer of brick with very strong foundations. And sometimes what we do is without strong foundation, without good strong layer of foundation, we build up too strong and then it can collapse easily. And sometimes it also happens in our practice. We rush because we want to be in that state. And then, there's possible fall. So it is important that to build slowly, but steady and strong foundations in that. And I think, so we can't expect not to have any kind of, you know, selfish attitude at the moment. You know, we can't expect not to have any selfish attitude at the moment. You know, it is all about how can we reduce that slowly, more and more, and how to improve that. And I think that is, I personally feel that is a more better, stable way to do it. And so then we also have less struggle of that, less struggle of that, because it doesn't mean you totally give up your own well-beings, to begin with, While you take care of yourself, at the same time, you also try to be kind, compassionate, caring, concerned for others. And slowly, we try to improve even that more and more, So it doesn't mean kind of neglecting your own well-beings, And also, for you to call him to come and fix the air condition, I don't think it might not be a problem for him, He might be happy to come and do that when in that situations, because when someone needs help and when it's really freezing and that conditions, they might not mind it. Even they are busy, they might be happy to do that because so sometimes we are making the stories. If I say that he might be, I'm so just calling and just having a discussion or just asking, that shouldn't be a problem, So I think, so therefore you shouldn't kind of neglect your own well-being. The thing is on the expense of others' suffering. We don't want to do that, For my own happiness, I don't want to put in other sufferings. But just asking them to do what they should be doing, you are not putting extra suffering to them. You are just asking what they are supposed to do and their responsibility. So that shouldn't be a problem to ask that, to fix that. Yeah. Okay, so we do the dedication then. Yeah. May all beings everywhere reflect by the suffering of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtues of my merit. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sound. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drink. May the poor find wealth, those who with sorrow find with joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvest. May all the medicine be effective and wholesome prayer bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be free from their ailments. Whatever disease they are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightening cease to be afraid and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of the day and the week. Thank you.